I think to be the outcast is really the best thing that someone can do. And I think if you are the outcast, meaning that you don't really fit in anywhere, maybe you're exiled from a certain group or certain people, your hometown, whatever it is, your own family, ostracized because you're different, manipulated to not believe in your gifts, manipulated to believe in something outside of you. I mean, there's so many different reasons why you could feel like you were on a different path in life and like no one around you understands. If I could go back to my younger self, I would have took her hand and I would have said, give in to these things that everyone is laughing at you for, that everyone is judging you for, that these school systems are saying, you need to learn this way, you need to be this way, you need to be this way. I have realized my big problem with a lot of things is being around energy that I feel like I have to conform, that I feel like I can't be myself. I tend to call these people karmics, but I don't really like any definition. Here's the thing, it's my soul's path to become the highest version of myself. For me to be around someone's limitation or someone's belief, that would really impact me. And you could think, oh, I have tough skin, like that's not going to impact me. We don't understand how deeply everything around us is completely programming our realities. These realities that we call realities. Understand, it is a reality of your own making. I feel like when you are trying to create a new reality for yourself, it's really difficult. It's really difficult because it's not all about the creating. It's about basically seeing how everyone that you previously had created a life with, maybe it's built off conditional love, or maybe it's built off not real support. I feel like when you are an outcast, whatever situation it might be in, or you feel ostracized, or you feel abandoned, or whatever it is, you feel betrayed by people. I felt all of these things from people in my life in the past, and that's why it's led me to this path where I feel like I do walk alone. I don't have real people in my life. But that's the thing, it's revealing, right? And I think to embark on this path of your soul, it's not like you have to sacrifice these things. You along the way are being revealed who is for you and who is not for you. I think sometimes it's hard to let go of people when you have attachments to them. You will see it will be a lonely journey to follow your soul. It will be a lonely journey because you just will realize who is fake. Why would you want to be around people that are fake and that keep you down? Because your soul wants you to be free. I continuously come back to this realization, but then there is this side of me that is like, no, but these people, their support is either fake or it's barely there or it's non-existent. I've thought about, what does it mean to support people? Should we be expecting these things of other people? I could have a good heart, but I know because my energy is so consumed with myself, that means my energy cannot be so consumed with other people. I feel like my energy is so dedicated. I'm dedicated to my mission, and I feel like it's like a devotion. I feel like that's beautiful. So if that can exist, if I wish to be that and I want to be that and I am that, then how can I expect someone else to have that support towards me? So I don't, right? I don't require support from people around me like that. Our vision is our vision. Other people around us do not need to know our vision. Like, I for so long was trying to get people in my life, my dad, to understand like I have a spiritual mission and we all are spiritual beings, but like my path particularly, there's no other path besides full-blown awakening. And it's like the way I see the world is so fundamentally different. So it's not for me to go and force my beliefs onto him and to freak him out and make him scared, because the things I could say and I don't would probably scare people in my family. If they wanted to face their souls even a little bit more, they would have. And I can just see the resistance in certain people's life. I don't want them to be scared because I want everyone to know it's this falling of like everything and release. It's like shedding into layers of being free. You're falling down that cliff and all of these layers are coming off of you, like all these pinpoints or something, and then you're being released and falling into this warm invisible blanket of surrender. And then every time that happens, you realize you can fly again, and you could always fly, and that you're this free sovereign bird and you can fly everywhere, and that you don't want to be caged. And you realize all these things that fundamentally change how you view life and how you approach life and your perspectives on life. So there's this gap, right? But someone does not need to understand this about you. I can put this into my work, which I'm doing. They don't need to understand this spiritual aspect of me. But I think to have people around you, it's really pretty important that they are at least on your side. Like, they don't need to understand it, but as long as they say, I don't understand this, but I am not going to try to make you conform along the way. So that's kind of like my thing, where I'm just realizing in my life where I was trying to convince people to see my way and to accept me, but I don't need acceptance because I don't value what they think. And I'm kind of at this point where, you know, you're kind of doing the very, it's not even bare minimum, it's like below bare minimum, but it's like you love certain people and you understand that when it does come into family. Not everyone can meet you at your level, and I talk about boundaries a lot, but the only people I really consider these things ever bendable for is family. Then when I go in the spiritual aspect, I think, why am I still bounding myself, right? Because I am that free bird. So why am I going back and feeling like, I'm a broken bird? I don't want to be. You don't need them to understand, but I think it's healthy to have a conversation and be like, listen, you're either on my side or you're not. And everyone's support can look different. Like, you should be supporting yourself, but again, they should not be putting you down. And if someone's laughing at you, say if you, go and tell your friends some journey and then they're all laughing at you and be like, well, this is the way it should be, this is the way it should be. Speak it up against these things. Like, don't conform to it. Don't be like, oh, these guys think this is weird, or my parents think it's weird. Who cares what these people think? It's not like I look at people as below me, but I just don't respect the opinions of people that conform. So I don't want to be put in that box. And if I have to tell someone that more than one time, is this your programming, or is this you're intentionally trying to hit at me? Are you trying to hit me down? That goes back into boundaries, which I already did an episode talking about that. I mean, just everything is always connected, and I think that sometimes it can feel very defeating when no one's in your corner. And I think that sometimes you can just feel like you're so alone. I don't ever feel lonely, but there's times where I'm going through something and like no one has been there for me. I know people would hardly ever be there for me in bad times. Like, they would blame me, like, well, why did you get into this situation? When you do go through certain times and you realize you cannot call on people, or they just hit you down, you realize a lot of things about people. It's important in that moment to choose yourself. And what I mean by choose yourself is to not conform. This is the truth of my journey. Like, who cares if someone's like painting you out to be, oh, you're this, you're this, you're this. Things that people are painting me out to be, I don't feel like that way. I don't feel like I'm aloof. No, I feel like I'm deep in thought, and I'm actually thinking in my head. So I guess this also goes back to the self-concept video I made, talking about self-concept and self-belief, and how self-belief is your currency. And it is. But I think it's just as it's important to see yourself correctly and talking about environment in that way, it is important to be honest with ourselves about who is really our supporters. Because I know that sometimes I do feel like I have strong boundaries, but then also I feel like I don't, because why are we letting people in our lives and access to us when they just do the bare minimum, or they don't even do the bare minimum? I just feel there's just a lack of support. That's what I feel. There's no heart in things sometimes. I feel like people just want to hop. That's what it is. Like, people don't want to take accountability, and people want to hop on the train when it's already moving, when it already has momentum, instead of being the one that helped the train got going. It's like people just want to hop on things to benefit them and not for real support. I've learned to not put my vision or project that, or just not try to get anyone to understand. If someone asks me a question, then I will respond to that question, but that also doesn't mean they need to know everything I'm doing with my life. Sometimes I will say that these things freely, because I also don't necessarily agree with this whole keep everything private, because I just feel like so much self-development content is so repeated and so regurgitated, and sometimes that applies for a reason. I really do value my privacy, and sometimes like I'm learning that too. I'll create things, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know why I did that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I do want to live a more private life, but I guess you don't know those limits until you explore with them. A lot of the times when you have a very different mentality as well, and you do see things very differently, everyone that saw anything differently, or anyone that was destined for greatness, anyone that is actually on a path for greatness, it's often the people did not see the vision, or did not understand, or just thought you were crazy, because perhaps you're unlike anyone that they have ever met, and they have not questioned outside of their reality. Not many people have in their life, so they just accepted this is the only way to do things. And if you're doing something in a new way, why would these people understand that, even if you did explain to them? I don't think we should be trying to explain things to them. I think we can explain, but we should never convince people. We should never be sitting there like, oh, I just need you to understand. If someone doesn't want to support you and see that you're different, understand you're different, then someone doesn't want to appreciate a diamond, then someone doesn't want to appreciate a diamond. If someone were to invest into a stock early that's later going to go up, not everyone's going to see that pattern. That's also what it is pattern recognition. It's not personal. Understand it's not personal. 90% of people, at least, will follow the crowd. There's like literally 10% or less, I would say like probably 5% of this world that's not conforming to this rat race. There's the conditioned people, and then there's the people that don't follow this specific group of people, and I know it's not as general as that, but you know what I'm trying to say. That has always been the case. Anyone that's going to do great things, it is partly that they cannot see that because it's your vision. I always was like, why doesn't this person see their potential? They cannot see their potential because it's not their potential. It's what I would do in their situation. And every time someone tells me something, I am like putting together the puzzle pieces. It's what I would do in their situation. I've realized like how I can support people and I can light people up. No one needs to give that to me. It is hard when you realize you don't have a support system. I've talked this before, but I've really been on my own since a young kid, and I've always felt like these people in my life are intentionally withholding support. Now that didn't become clear to me until recently. Why don't these people in my life support me when they could? When they're in the position where they could support me, it really did make me look at things in a weird way. For someone to intentionally withhold support, you have to ask yourself, well, why would they be doing that? This person could probably withholding support because they want you to fail, because they don't want you to succeed. If you do start succeeding without them, and then they come back into your life and they support you, but it's not genuine support. It's just because they're starting to catch on a little bit. Maybe it's still unpopular, but they're starting to catch on a little bit, like you're gonna go places, and so they want to come onto that train. My thing is that if I have nothing, right? I had nothing so many different times, and it's like I've always just made it work with what I've had, and I've grinded on certain things, and still sometimes I've like still been in this state of, oh my god, I'm still surviving. Like, what could I do if I had a support system? What could I do if I had parents that would support me financially, in any different way, emotionally, anyway? It's been hard, but I want people to know that, like, you know what really does create a support system for me is creating that, first of all, that support within yourself. But now for me, what really lights me up and I feel like gives me that support is like me creating things that I needed and I needed to hear. And in a way, if I can help someone else feel connected, it's such a small percentage, it's such a small pool, but there's so many people out there that understand our journeys, and I feel like it can give strength to people. Every time I go through something, I'm like, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through it so I can learn the lesson from it, so I can learn the wisdom, so I can go share that wisdom. And that makes me so excited. Like, that makes me worth it going through that, because I know that is a large part of my purpose. Sometimes people just want the best for you, so you have to understand every situation. Sometimes people are also not trying to get you, not trying to withhold resources from you when they could support you. They don't want you to succeed, because if you were to succeed, that would make them show in every areas of their life where they are not facing themselves.